Friday morning. Welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Friday, the 8th of December. I just have to point out that my YouTube channel is now up and running, Kramer's Corner, Saxo Bank Kramer's Corner. So all my videos, if you're watching on our YouTube, Saxo Bank's YouTube channel, then it will be moved to my own channel, Kramer's Corner. So please move over there and subscribe. I know I have a lot of viewers on the main channel, but I've got my own now. So all right, let's move on to the S&P 500 that ticked up a little bit yesterday. We are still in this sideways move here, maybe a little bit of correction, but what is interesting is that the RSI actually also picked up a little bit. But there's still resistance around the 4600 that should be observed. Nasdaq 100 broke back above the 15,932 and actually also closed above 16,000. So maybe that is that was the correction. It is 15,744 did hold, and we could now see higher levels towards 16,300, possibly higher in the coming days. But again, still observe this support here, 15,744. That is key level support. EUROSTOXX ticking higher this morning after a little bit of a setback yesterday. We are currently testing the all-time highs there, and also there are the all-time highs here from 2 days ago. So it seems still very strong, but we are in a very stretched uptrend, and we should see a correction, and it will hit the market when we least expect it. DAX also trying to take a little bit higher here, and again very stretched, as you can see, very stretched on the RSI also, so we should see a correction eventually. AX it's very close to resistance at 781, but the really strong resistance will of course also be the peak over here at 795, but it's also a little bit stressed. But however, I think regardless of any correction that might hit the market, and we should see some corrections, I still believe we will end the year on a strong note. Belgian market taking higher after holding on to this support, holding above this support here at 36.32, and there's room up to 37 at 28, which is a much stronger resistance level. CAC 40 shooting higher this morning and is on course to test the 75.26 peak from earlier this year, from July. But again, we have the RSI quite stretched there, but again, we should trust the trend. The trend is still your friend, and it's moving higher, but be aware suddenly a correction will hit. Swiss market is still it's struggling. It's lacking the other. You can see there's quite a distance back to previous peaks, and we have some strong resistance at 11,068. But 11,000 in general seems to be also a bit of a struggle for the SMI. Euro dollar still holding on above 107.60-65. Around this level, we have some support bouncing a little bit yesterday, but dancing on the spots basically, and I think that could continue for a couple of more days. All attention is on the yen pairs, and we get to those in a minute. I think we could see euro dollar slowly tracking higher here going into next week, but again, you should observe this support area here around 107.30, 107.60. It seems to be quite a strong one. Moving on to cable, also here 125.46. Some support there. We could still see a little bit of a correction down to the to around 125, 124.80, where we have the 100 moving average and the 200 moving average coming up here, and they are kind of sneaking around each other, so to speak. We have the 100 declining a little bit, and we have the 200 rising a little bit, almost similar to the to the euro dollar, but the underlying sentiment is bullish. There's not much. There's a little bit divergence here on the RSI maybe, but I think we will see cable moving higher here in coming weeks. Dollar yen, massive sell-off late last night after the sell-off that hit the market from the morning yesterday, and it pushed the dollar yen to the 141.55 support that was also highlighted yesterday, and also in my technical update, written technical report here a couple of days ago, bouncing strongly. And I think I added this Fibonacci retracement level here at 145.55. We could see a bounce up to that next during the day, but there are some numbers coming out of US later today that could really give extra volatility to the market. So expect still quite a bit of volatility on the yen pairs. Euro yen also touched the support here at 153 and a change. When we see spikes like these over here back from July, I mean, where should I put the support area? I placed it here at the lowest close, but it could have spiked down to the spike down here at 151.40, but it didn't. We closed, or we spiked from 153.08 and has bounced back to this support and now resistance at 155.5. There should be a correction potential up to around 157.17, and we have also the strong resistance here just above it. So I think we could possibly going into next week see a bounce up to around that level. Also yen, very close to the support and the 200 moving average, just around 93.60 right here before we bounced back above the resistance. Now resistance here at 94.77. But as mentioned yesterday, this one is not the strongest one. You can see it's more or less in the middle of it, but that's where we have a cluster of opening and closing, and that's why I figured, well, then maybe there's some interesting levels there, and there are. It is, but it's not the most important one. So let's see where we end the day today. Will we end above or below? And also, will we end above or below this rising trend line here? And that should be a focus for today and going into next week. Sterling yen a little bit harder. It didn't get all the way down to 176.25, but almost down to the 200 moving average. What is actually quite interesting, it actually moved down to levels around this spike down here we saw back in October at 178 and a bit. Now we are back above this support level here, 181.07, around that level, 181, and we could continue a little bit. What will be what you should watch? Will it, or keep an eye on, will it get back above the cloud area here or not? That I think is key. But what we can see, 21 moving average tilting over 55 and 100 slowly start doing it. But the jury's still out. Will it do it or not? Then let's move on to an interesting move, or we talked about it quite some time ago, and I was also an analysis out a couple of weeks ago that if EURUSD, Euro Swedish krona, did close below 1140, it could drop lower to around 11, and it seems to materialize. And 1120 around this level, then there's support, but we could drop all the way down to 11. Finally, when we're talking FX, there's a lot of stuff to talk about that, so it takes a little bit of time. Sorry about that. We have the dollar index. It's reached the 38.2 retracement and got sold off again. Now testing the falling trend line here. Will it get back below, and also back below 103? That is should be the key focus today, I think. Or can it break higher and above 104.40 for a move, upwards move? And that's going to be the focus today for FX. Gold is still in a little bit of a limbo here, trying to get back above the 2030 it did spike a little bit, but again, keep an eye on the 2009 support, 2008, 2009. If we break below, and in this case I don't say close, I do say break, there's a difference. If we do break below, I think we will see a move down to 1975, but I anticipate a move back to 2057, possibly up to 2086, 87, due to the fact that RSI is still showing positive sentiment and there's no divergence, so it is indicating a higher move. Silver, trying to get back above the falling trend line here, trying to get back above 23.77, but it's really struggling at the moment. But again, I keep an eye on the RSI. If RSI moves back above 60, well, then I think we'll see a move on silver back to around 25 level. Copper is trying to get its act together, and it actually did yesterday. Now, as we speak, it's shooting above a 382.20. And if it can close above, well, then I think we'll see a move towards the 400 level. Contrary to that, we have the crude oil. The sell-off starts to wearing off, while there's still potentially down to around 67, but maybe a little bit of a counter move here towards the 72, but we need to get back above 79.80 just for a reversal of the trend as it seems now. Here we have Brent forming what could be, it's not the perfect one because the doji here should be a little bit lower and should be free of the body here, should be free of this body, but then it could actually form a bottom of reversal pattern. However, I think we will be trading sideways here between 72 and 80 for quite some time. Finally, let's have a look at the US 10-year. We are almost at the end. We could still see a move down to around 4% before we will see a bounce, and again observe numbers coming out of US later today. So that will be quite interesting to follow. All right, again a long one. I apologize about that, but thank you very much for listening. Have a nice weekend and happy trading.